Okay, now that we have vector maps for snowmobile trails being displayed, and we set up a style for example, the 5-color snowmobile trails, and we have a nice underlay online raster map, which is Microsoft Hybrid, the satellite images. Uh, we want to go in and enable some of the ones that we extracted out of the zip files, which were described in a metainfo file. So those are overlay files and then one underlay file. And they can be used for either, but normally they're used, the snowmobile ones are used as overlays. And there's one, which is the Esri Topo, that makes a nice underlay map. So we'll do one of each. So we'll go into ES File Explorer. And remember, we extracted those into the OsmAnd tiles folder. So we'll browse down to OsmAnd, and then we'll go to the tiles folder, and here they are. Tiles, Esri, Topo, Meta Info. There's one right there. And what I'm going to do this time is first of all, I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to call that folder Esri Topo. Whatever we name the subfolder under tiles will be the name of the map as it shows up in the list. So you see the one up on the very top of the screen there, Microsoft Hybrid. Well, that one is where all the map tiles that are downloaded off the internet are stored. They're stored in a bunch of subfolders of Microsoft Hybrid. So we've got to create a new one. So if I do a long click, no, let's see, how do I create a folder? More. Click on the more button, bottom right. Nope, I have to make sure I'm back at in that tiles folder without multiple selection. Now I'll click on the top right, new folder, and I'm going to call that uppercase ERSI space TOPO. So that'll be the name of the online raster map or tile map. Click OK. It's created that folder. Now I want to find the Esri Topo Meta Info file. Long click on it, and at the bottom of the screen on the left, I'm going to click on copy. That's going to copy that file. And then I'm going to click on the Esri Topo folder, one tap. Now I'm in the Esri Topo folder, and the bottom left, it says paste. So the file that I copied, I'm going to paste. So there's the file, tiles Esri topo.metainfo. Now I'm going to select that. Select it with a long click. And then the second icon from the right that looks like a I-beam says rename. I'm going to click on that. And the part that's selected says tiles underscore ERSI underscore topo. And then there's a dot meta info. What we want to do is delete the file name. When we do that, the file will disappear. So it's kind of a trick. That meta info file that's stored there is a description that tells OsmAnd how to go out and get those tiles online on the internet. So I'm going to click OK. Actually had to click the checkbox. Didn't seem to do it. Try that again. Long click, rename, hit the delete button. Now I'm going to say OK. So now the file has disappeared, but it's there. Most file manager programs will not allow you to look at files that don't have file names. They only have file types. The .metainfo is the file type. So that has disappeared, but it's there. Now we can go back one level, and there's the Esri Topo, and you can see it says one item inside it, that top folder. We're going to create another folder. I'm going to call that Snow, New Hampshire. So upper right hand corner, the 3 dots, say new. I'm going to click on folder, and I'm going to call this Snow NH, Snow, New Hampshire. I'll click on OK, and I can see the folder here. Now all I want to do is find the tiles, Snow, New Hampshire metainfo. Long click on that. Say copy. I'm going to click on the folder Snow, New Hampshire. So this is the same that we did before with the Esri topo file. And bottom left, it says paste. So there's the file. I'm going to long click on the file name. Click on the rename button in the bottom right-hand side of the screen that looks like an I-beam. That'll select the file name portion of it. I'm going to click the delete button on my keyboard to delete that, and then I'm going to click OK. So I should now have two new online raster or tile maps available in OsmAnd. So we'll fire up OsmAnd and see. Go back here, fire up OsmAnd. And I'll click on the car icon is another way you can do this, and this will get you to the configure map menu. And now there is an overlay map item, and I'm going to click on that. I'm going to enable it, and it gives me a list. Now for an overlay, Snow, New Hampshire will go out on the internet to our server and get images that can be overlaid over top of both the vector files and the underlay map, which is Microsoft Hybrid at this moment. So I'm going to click on that, and I can see a little bit of color changed on the map screen, and then there's a transparency bar that you can change to make it opaque or transparent. So there it just shows a little bit. I'm going to put it all the way to the right. Now we'll click on that and we'll see what this looks like. Now again, this is a cyan color, and it's for New Hampshire. So it shows up even if you're zoomed out pretty far. There it disappears when you're out at 100 miles. Well, maybe that was, now it's 200 miles, and it shows up. A little blurry, but if we zoom in a little bit, we can start to see slightly different colors. There's sort of a bright cyan color. Those are corridor trails. And then off trail is still orange, but something else just popped up here. Those are you see 20 right in the middle of the screen there. That red indicates that's corridor trail 20. The blue is primary trail 130. 5A is another corridor trail. 130 is a primary trail. So that's kind of nice to have. And it shows up at a higher level. Now these you can only enable either one state at a time or Quebec at a time. And again, you can shut those off. See, if you scroll over to Vermont, that one's not enabled. But it can be helpful. Again, it's optional, and you'd have to go through each one. You have to go through the same procedure we went through for New Hampshire to do Vermont. Quebec, Maine, New York. Whichever ones you purchased, you can do that or not do it. Again, it's optional. It's something I kind of like to use every once in a while because it's a way to see the corridor trails within the state. Now we're going to do another change here. We're going to go to the three bars, configure map again, and we're going to go to the underlay map, and we're going to change that. Now it's set up as Microsoft Hybrid. We'll click on where it says Microsoft Hybrid. And now we see there's an additional one here. There is Snow, New Hampshire. You generally don't want to have that because it's transparent, has no background, has no lakes, streams, and stuff like that. It's just trails and trail chevrons and stuff for that overlay. Microsoft Hybrid is what we had it set to before there, but there's a new one called Esri Topo. That's a nice topographical map. So I'm going to click on that, and now you see there's sort of a greenish background there. If I zoom in a little closer over here in Vermont, a lot of streams, some nice shaded relief along those corridor trails. If I click near there, that's Corridor Trail 100 in Vermont. I'll back out a little bit. Over New Hampshire, you see the overlay still goes over top of that. That cyan colored New Hampshire snowmobile trail overlay still goes over top of it, even though we have a different underlay map. Sometimes I like to call those a background map. This little scroll bar at the bottom, you can actually change the transparency of that last map, or you can hit the little X on it and it'll disappear. I'm going to shut off the overlay, New Hampshire overlay, shut it off, back. So now we have an Esri Topo map. And there are a variety of different map styles that you can, or map types you can get online. There's a cycle map. That's actually not a bad little topographical map. See, the underlay map, which is Esri Topo, shows the blue water. If you just had the trail maps, you wouldn't see that water there. You'd just see the white line going across the lake. You wouldn't know necessarily that there was a lake there. I'll switch back again to configure map. Go from Esri Topo to Microsoft Hybrid. There we go. Okay, there's one little trick I want to show you here, but I'll do that in the next video.